Brrrah! What's up my people, my name is Spicy and today I have 6 stories coming out of the subreddit IDontWorkHereLady. Leave a fire emoji in the comments and like this video if you are having fun. Congratulations Darlene for the comment of the day. Brrrah. The client is king. This is from a few years ago, but I've only just realized you may be interested. I used to do translation back home from Brits. I am from France, so French English. My stepmother is from Yorkshire and she is where I learned most of my English from. Because of this, I am always happy to help strangers who need it. So one day, in Leclerc, think our version of Morrison's, I was talking to her and went to hunt down some condiments she needed, when I overheard some elderly Brits talking about an item they could not find. It was clear they were getting frustrated, so I gave mom her thing and ran to get what this couple had been looking for. I found it quickly and handed it to them, explaining what it was in French and asked if they looked for anything else, as I knew where most things were. They were grateful and fine, so I left it at that. Bref, fast forward about 5 minutes and we looked for a checkout when I heard someone clicking behind me and a strong American accent shouting, "Oi! Hey! You!" I ignored it, so they grabbed my shoulder and demanded to know where a certain item is. You remember I said I was usually happy to help? That is for people who were nice. Screw this guy right in his teeth. I said I did not work there and he accused me of lying. He was seeing me help the other two, so obviously I worked there. My mother then chimed in and told him to leave us alone, when he then pulled me out of the line. I told him to back off. He was wrong to treat me like that. That's when I got the best line no one had obviously ever used before. The client is always right. The client is king. I looked him straight in the eye and replied, "You are in France. Do I need to remind you what we did to our king?" I'm trying to figure out which American will use "oi." Maybe he was more Australian. And even if that guy was American, not all Americans act this way. That was rude and stupid. And this was a great comeback. Good job. Honey, that's not our waitress. A story earlier reminded me of this one from about 20 years back. My girlfriend and I went out with a married couple we knew to a Mexican restaurant. While we were sitting there looking at our menus, a friend of the husband wandered over to say hello to us. "Hey, I have not seen you in forever. How is it going?" "Fine. Could we get started with some chips and salsa while we make up our minds?" "Honey?" "Oh yeah, margaritas. Everyone wants a margarita, right?" Their friend just stood there, grinning. "Honey, look at me a second." "Yeah?" "That's not a waitress." Wifey looked up from her menu to see a large, hairy German man her husband used to work with. "Oh my god, Henry, I'm so sorry." She did not get to live it down for a long while. Months later, we were over for movie and rum night when wifey ran low on her beverage. "Hey, Technos, if you're getting up, could you?" "Honey, that's not a waitress." Technos is the name of the writer. I was kinda stunned by the look on her face, so I just stood there, chuckling and watching the movie for a moment, when my girlfriend started to steer with a remark wifey let loose. "If I hear one more word out of anyone that is not, 'Here's your rum and coke,' you're going to get stabbed." Rum and coke coming up. Their daughter did it for years after as well. If you heard the kid rummaging through the fridge and asked her to bring something, she'd reply with, "I'm not your waitress." This is actually pretty funny. I loved it. It is a mixture of I don't work here lady, petty revenge, I am very badass, and delicious compliance. But she got one part right though. Everyone does want margaritas. But it is our duty as a family to always remember our mothers the moment they embarrass themselves. And that's how strong family bonds are made. Me and the rest of the shoppers are indeed just standing around and browsing. That's what shoppers do, lady. I did not think this will ever happen to me, but here it goes. I went to my local Bunnings today. For the non-Australian, Bunnings is one of the biggest hardware store we have in Australia. You can get anything and almost everything. A hardware junkie time machine warehouse, so to speak. You walk in at 1 and out at 4, wondering, I was in there for 3 hours? Anyway, back to the story. So I was browsing for some nuts and bolts to fix my UT, and an older woman with her husband just walked up to me and go, "So how much is that gorilla ladder?" Bearing in mind, I got my Justice League t-shirt on, ripped track pants and sneakers. I look nothing like a staff. I'm looking at her and her husband and back at her. "Sorry? How much is that ladder?" I walked towards the ladder and sure enough, there are no pricing. "No idea, ma'am. You might have to get a staff. Can't you ring and find out? Sorry, but I don't work here. And awkwardly bring her attention to what I am wearing, not a Bunnings-Staff shirt. Oh, I thought you work here. You're like just standing there. Cause I was almost embarrassed to be holding my pack of bolts at this stage. Sorry, I better go so I'm not standing here. I left and I heard her husband went. I told you, stop listening to Hamilton and sell me a tub. So for context, I am a beer of a 16-year-old trans guy. I'm 5'11", chubby, and just a pretty big guy. I also have bright red hair and wear mostly black since I am too poor to move out of my old emo wardrobe. I go to Lowe's regularly for paint and other things for DIY projects, so mostly everyone who works in the small local Lowe's knows me. For the story itself, it happened a few months ago. I was in my school clothes, old skater shoes, jeans, purple polo shirt with school logo on it, and black pullover sweater since I hate my rolls. And my grandmother sent me into Lowe's to pick up some plug converters that change a 2-prong to a 3-prong. I am hopelessly searching for these things, ignoring every person in sight since I am incredibly anxious and being Broadway trash, aka listening and humming along to what I'd missed from Hamilton. When I feel a creepy bony finger tap on my shoulder, I jump and turn around, and there's this weird Karen who looks to be in her early 50s with her clearly embarrassed husband. This crazy lady sees me and thinks somehow I work there. For context, Lowe's workers wear blue and red vests with the Lowe's logo on the back and front with their names on it. So clearly, I do not work here. For our cast, we have CL for the crazy lady, CH for the cool husband, CW for the confused worker, and J for Jax, who is me. Hi, excuse me, your coworker just walked away from us when we were looking at bathtubs. Could you possibly stop being so lazy and help us? I'm sorry, I don't, work here? See, Diane, he does not work here. Nonsense! He's just being lazy and tossed his vest somewhere. Then this crazy chick grabs my arm and starts dragging me away. Me being an anxious and semi-autistic 16-year-old, I start panicking. Cool husband is asking his wife to let me go, even though she's not really taking me anywhere since she's a tiny 50-something-year-old woman and I am a wrecking ball of a human being. Even though I know she can't take me anywhere, I still panic when random people just grab me like that. Finally, a poor worker comes by, notices the commotion, and comes over. Ma'am, please release him. No, clearly you're not of any help. I want a bathtub. Diane, please. Let the boy buy his damn plugs. It takes my free hand and the confused worker to get this crazy woman off of me, and I am clearly shaking from the encounter. And she's like, you are all so useless. Where's your manager? I would have you fired. And the confused worker, who usually works in the paints, so he definitely knows me, is just like, miss, he does not work here. He is a minor. And this lady goes pale, and without even an apology, just speed walks off. The husband gives me an apology, hands me a couple of bucks for the converters I have in my hand, and rushes off to catch up with a crazy lady. I check out and I sprint into my grandmother's car. Apparently, I was in there for 10 minutes because of the situation, but I did get a crisp Hamilton, $10, from my grandma for the household though. Now let's get into the next story, but before we do, I just want to remind you that if you've been enjoying my content for a while and you like my videos and you want to see more of these, please consider subscribing because 1, that will help me grow the channel, and 2, you will get more of my videos. So to make sure you don't miss any of my videos, subscribe to the channel and activate the notifications so you will get them directly on your home feed. Oh, and also, thank you for your support. It really means a lot to me. I know I say it often in the comments, but you know, you mean a lot to me, so thank you. Surprise! I do work here. Back when I was taking a couple of years off school, I work in a medium-sized upscale restaurant. During my time there, I think I was well liked enough. I ended up dating a co-worker and becoming close friends with a couple managers. Now, as anyone who has worked in a restaurant can tell you, being friends with the managers can get you some perks. Things like free drinks after work, preferential scheduling, better big parties, etc. This infuriated one coworker we will call Karen. Karen was not well liked, but was honestly a good waiter. Think Naomi from the movie Waiting. super nice to the customers, but once she was out of sight of the dining floor, swearing and cursing and talking crap. Karen did not like me and made it very obvious. She would claim I was sleeping with the managers for better tables, and while it was not true, I did, on average, get better shifts than most. The rest of the staff noticed, but did not really care since I took 2 crap shifts a week, Sunday night and Monday double. Because my favorite manager and significant other worked those shifts, so we just caught up, hung out, and would have a couple of beers while working. Now Christmas time rolls around and we had 3 event rooms and everyone wanted the Christmas holiday and work parties. There were always set menu, lots of booze, large autograph checks, and could double to triple a normal night's work of one table. These were coveted tables, so of course Karen would complain every time I got one and she didn't. Or my party having a better menu, an example, more expensive than hers. You could taste her passive aggressiveness in the air when she was around. It got to the point where the owner took over the scheduling to try and even things out. Even this did not stop her because obviously I was sleeping with the owner too. Fast forward 8 months and I have enrolled in grad school and will no longer be working at the restaurant. These are the happiest days of Karen's miserable life. My school is in the same town, so I'd still pop over to hang out on Sunday night for a free drink and half-off meal. Not too bad. One night, a couple months later, I come in like normal, but on the end of a Saturday night, both managers, my significant other, and the owner are there, as well as Karen. I am having my beer when Karen comes over. "Oh, hey there OP, did not recognize you." "Hi there Karen, how have you been?" I will always try and be nice. "Things have been good. The restaurant has been really busy since you left. Everyone is really happy to come into work since the shifts have gotten even and fair. Besides your significant other, people are in a much better mood after you left." "Oh really?" "Oh yes, and there are so many good parties this year and I am lined up to get the best ones as I am now head waiter." It was not a thing. "Since you don't work here anymore." Grinning my tail off. "Actually Karen, I do work here. I came in tonight to see if the owner needed any seasonal help. He does, and since the menu has changed and I don't know any of the new dishes, I am just going to be working parties." At this point, her cheery demeanor that she just used in front of customers changes, and she goes fuming off to talk to the owner. I sit back and enjoyed my beer that much more. It was true. I told the owner I could work until school started or the holiday rush died. Since he was a bit short-staffed and will not have to train me on the basics, I started right away and picked up some very nice holiday cash. Luckily, I was never scheduled to work a party with Karen. Beer delivery man thought I could get him into the store's freezer. So this just happened last week and I forgot this subreddit existed until now to post it. Basically, I wear scrubs for my job, no specific color. We can wear any color combination. Heck, we can even wear regular t-shirts as long as they are neutral and work appropriate. I am still pretty new though, so for now I am wearing scrubs every day. And I even have the same color top and bottom combos going on. I like it. I think they look neat. On Friday morning last week, I had just gotten off on my overnight shift and wanted to run few errands before I went home to sleep. I got my car washed and needed some things from the pharmacy. My car had been extremely dirty, waiting until payday to clean. And so the wash took a while, and by the time I got into the pharmacy, I had kind of forgotten that I was still in my work scrubs. I had happened to be wearing my dark blue set. Apparently, the uniform for the pharmacy was also blue. I am standing in the hair aisle, trying to determine what shampoo and conditioner to get, while also trying to not fall asleep standing up, when I hear from the end of the aisle, "Hey, can you come unlock the beer cooler for me? I never remember the code." And it is a Budweiser close enough delivery guy. It took me a second to realize he was talking to me because I was zoning out about shampoo. But when I finally looked up, my eyes must have just gone wide at the prospect of him asking me a question. that he immediately goes, "Oh my gosh, you don't work here, I'm so sorry." I just laughed and said, "Well, I work somewhere, just not here," and then got my shampoo and left. He went to the register to get assistance. I left and went home and slept. Not the most dramatic story, but I thought it was funny at the time. Why was it delivering beer to a pharmacy? Can you buy beer in pharmacy? Where? I don't know about the States, but over here in Canada, there's no beer in pharmacies. Check out my playlist right here for IDontWorkHereLady videos. If you can show me some support by liking the video and subscribing, this will mean the world to me. Also hit the bell button to know when we post a new video and join the notification gang. Thank you again for watching this episode of IDontWorkHereLady. See ya!